Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight.
It's been 362 long days since last year's Scotties, but curling is back. The Scotties is back. That curling show is live. And Colleen, I got a tweet.
Oh, Devin, you're always tweeting. We can't do a show with you. Why am I not surprised? This is the story of my life. Devin, always waiting for Devin.
But you know, we have to get to the roll call because we know the fans have been waiting for live curling. So let's get to the roll call. I'm tweeting it out right now. We're back.
We've all been waiting. Did you say 324 days?
That's 362 days.
Honestly, we are so excited. And really, the whole idea of that curling show isn't just to talk curling for a half hour and have some awesome guests, but it's to connect with the Twitter fans, Instagram fans, any curling fans. We love you. We know you want curling back. And we thought this would be a really cool way to bring your thoughts, your questions to some of the guests. So happy to have you with us, fans.
Right. And Colleen, you and I were talking about the genesis of that curling show. Do you remember the time in Sydney when you and I, Coffee with Curlers, we were driving down the road and you went down the one-way road the wrong way?
Who would? Yeah, we were at the Scotties in Sydney, and who would know that was a one-way? It didn't look like a one-way. No harm was done, but that was, or Pyeongchang at the Olympics. We used to sit and talk all the time, and we'd say, this should be a show. Here we are.
Here we are.
A show.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's get into it because it's 40 years of Scotties curling. You've seen the jerseys. They look outstanding.
They look good.
And look at ours.
I know.
No, let's show them off. First,
we got our own. Hello. Hello. Do you love it?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sleeping with it. We're going to wear it every night.
Yeah, we have to say thank you to Dynasty Curling for fitting us with these jerseys. We're grateful for that. Look good, curl good. We're thinking about a mixed doubles team.
We're thinking about it.
The uniform.
Okay. All the Scotties players are going to have these kind of jerseys in their old school provincial colors. Back to the bison on the back. For Nova Scotia, it's the schooner, the blue nose. I love that look so much better than just, plain old crest. To me, that symbol, oh my goodness. When I was a kid growing up, curling against Connie Laliberty at the Canada Games, and I saw that bison, or was it the juniors? I don't remember. It was.
It's all lost because guess what? In 1982, you won your first Scotties.
Oh my God! Look at that girl. Look.
Put it closer.
Okay.
Okay. So 1982, the Women's National Curling Championship was named the Scotties. Colleen won the first one ever with her sisters in Regina, Saskatchewan.
And I played in the 1980 Canadian ladies against Marg Mitchell, lost in the final. And I played in the 79 in a real awful arena in Montreal. And when I got to Regina in 1982 and played in that very first Scotties, it was magical. And I knew then I wanted to play forever, which is why I still curl.
And you're still here. You're still here.
They changed the face of women's curling like nothing. Like they put so much infrastructure into it because they wanted to, at the time, raise the game to the same level of the men's, which if you think 1982, that's pretty progressive of them. And by golly, I think they did it.
They did it, and here we are. 18 of the best teams are in their hotel rooms right now. We're less than an hour away from live curling, a Calgary curling bubble in the midst of a pandemic. Curling Canada going to exceptional measures to pull this off. Colleen, I have to ask you, you've been to more Scotties than anyone. Take me into the mindset of a curler right now, an hour away from the start of the Scotties. So many unknowns, but they're getting to the ice. Tell me what they're thinking right now.
There are so many. I mean, let's face it, this is a little bit of a strange one in that you've had COVID tests. You have to isolate in your room for now. You need to, Team Nova Scotia was Zooming with each other in various hotel rooms because they still couldn't get together. Not many teams have practiced because, of course, the lockdown caused curling clubs to shut down. So
I'm going to interrupt you. let's get into that, because they went to extraordinary measures to try and stay in shape and try and get in some slides. I understand that curlers were taking the lakes and doing whatever they could to get into curling. For you said Carey Henderson was on the lake. All of it, I mean, there it is right there. I mean, can you imagine these curlers, Colleen, doing whatever it takes? There's Rachel Holman, I think, in the backyard, doing whatever it takes.
Yeah, and Amanda Gates out in Sudbury.
What do you think the draw time on that would be right there?
Yeah, pretty heavy. And you wouldn't be doing it to try to improve your shots. You'd be doing it because the curling slide is such a unique thing. You can't train it. You could do all the yoga lunges in the world, but nothing preps you for it until you get on that very slippery surface of pebbled ice and do it. And you can, it's wobbly on your ankles as we look at Cynthia St. George in Quebec. That looks like a swimming pool, eh?
I think it is, actually.
It's hard to create.
The green of a pool right now.
Yeah, hard to create the pebbled surface and all this, but it's better. It'd be better than nothing to do it occasionally. Now, I talked to Carey at one point and I said, well, you're going to go back out in there. And she said, Colleen, it's -40 today. I'm there. Oh, well, maybe not today. -40.
They're a hardy bunch. They're in the bubble. We're getting ready for curling. We have been waiting a long time. Listen, we said it off the top, Curling Canada going to extraordinary measures. And we're joined tonight, the first ever guest on that curling show, the CEO of Curling Canada, Kathy Henderson, in the bubble.
Welcome. Scooch over a little bit.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. And I hope you can see what we're doing in the background right here. I'm at the Markin McPhail Arena in Winsport. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you.
Yeah. Just want to make sure you can hear me. But there you go. Like we're doing it.
You've got the best seat in the house, and you know that we wish we could be there with you. But you guys, like I said, have taken all the steps to pull this off. Kathy, you've had a couple of days so far. You put in so much work. Everybody's holding their breath. We're an hour away. How are you feeling? And what have the first couple of days gone like?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm feeling super excited. I'm about to see some amazing curling. I'm probably more excited than you guys are. And I also want to say I'm really, really, really proud of our team. The people from Curling Canada that put this on and worked together. Little shout out to Danny Lamoureux and Nolan Thiessen, who've been kind of leading the charge. But, everyone from our board members, our admin staff, like everyone has been working on this. Also, just tons of work with Sport Canada and our public health agencies, federal and provincial, just to help us out here to figure out how to do this wonderfully and super safely.
Yeah. Kathy, take a little step over towards us. I don't know if you can see it. No, other way. Yeah. I'm like, no, now we've lost you.
Step into the light.
Perfect. All right. I've got a question though. So as, Krista McCarville said no, as you through the gauntlet to all of the provincial associations to run their provincials, and the majority of them couldn't do it. And then when Krista said no, what was going through your head? Were you like, oh dear, it's all right to have a bubble in Calgary, but how with the provincial championships? Were you getting a little nervous at that?
Yeah, well, I think you do get a little bit nervous, but, one of the things that we always said is like, everyone, if you're going to come in, you need to have good reasons to come here and to feel really safe. I will say to a member association, every one of them, they all have the rights to name their teams, and we certainly respect that. But we worked really hard with them just to make sure that they were going to be represented well. I think every one of our member associations, every province, every territory is super proud of who they've sent here. And we're going to see some amazing curling. You've got some of the best curlers in the world represented here today. So, yeah.
I don't have to tell you that this is a big year. We're leading into the Winter Olympics, and the path goes right through the bubble in Calgary. You've been such an advocate for gender equity, and now we have this Women's Worlds canceled. I'm wondering if you've had conversations with the World Curling Federation about maybe even having the Women's Worlds in the Calgary bubble. What can you tell us about that? Because you've got a men's world championship. You don't have a women's world championship right now.
Yeah, I can't really say much about. Everybody's talking about it. I was on a phone with my fellow CEOs from, all the different curling nations around the world, and we're all trying to figure out what's the best thing, the safest thing, that keeps the integrity of what it is that we're trying to do to get some of those curlers up on the podium. But At this point, no decisions have been made. But conversations continue about what do we do. And the other thing I just want to mention, we're certainly listening to the athletes, and kind of what their needs are as well. So yeah,
which is why it's 18 teams now.
Yeah.
A lot of Manitoba here. 5.
Yeah, a lot of Manitoba, but Manitoba. Yeah.
You'll be holding your breath for a while.
Pardon me?
Will you be holding your breath for a while? Like, what makes you nervous right now?
Well, in the middle of a pandemic, safety first, safety first, safety first. And so, we are constantly taking a look at what it is we're doing, who we're bringing in, and how do we keep them safe. And you're just, I think we've done everything humanly possible to make sure everyone here is safe. But, you're always on high alert. If something happens and the bubble is broken, like, we've got to make decisions really quickly about what happens. So
yeah,
so I am holding my breath, but I want to go for 2 reasons. One is a little bit of nervousness as we get going, but the other thing is I cannot wait to see what's going to happen tonight and then for the next 9 days.
You and everybody else, because I'll tell you, with the lack of practice for a lot of the teams, usually you would know who's on top first, but now you're going, wow, we could get a real upset here this year. So who knows?
Possibly. Now, I was watching a little bit of practice today, and I will say I wouldn't have believed that it's been 362 days. I was watching a lot of people out there now. I curl at the East York Curling Club, and I've just climbed my way up to the C League. So I'm always feeling a little bit of awe when I see what they can do. But yeah, it's been really, it's been great watching everyone, and they look like they haven't missed a beat.
I agree. Well, that's often the way. I mean, Brad Boucher showed up here in Halifax to play in a spiel, and it was his first spiel of the day, and the guy didn't miss a shot. So yeah. You're right. So nice that you could join us on our first show. Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. Have so much fun. How long are you in the bubble for?
I'm going to stay. I'm here for at least a week. But I'll see. I'll see if I need it. I'll see if I want it. I mean, everything looks well in hand here, and I'm really thrilled for
thanks
what
for being
doing.
here.
So,
enjoy it.
good luck with your show. It's
thank you. We're 50 minutes away. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye. Take care.
Yeah, nice to have you with us.
I can recall a couple of weeks ago, everything seems like a blur, Colleen, but I can remember Kathy and the Curling Canada crew getting on a media call. They were exhausted. They put so much into this. They wanted to pull it off. We've seen the bubbles, the NHL, the NBA bubbles. Curling Canada doesn't have the money that the NHL and the NBA has. They're pulling it off, and now we're this close, right?
Yeah, and I know when we received back in end of November as curlers, we got the 58-page document of what it would look like, and you went, wow, they've dotted every I, crossed every T in terms of multiple testing for the athletes when they get there. Everybody's in their individual room, all of that sort of stuff. So you really kind of went, might be a little like prison. That might be an exaggeration.
Well, but hold on. But to that point, actually, we had 2-time Scotties champion Chelsea Carey today take over our CBC Olympics Instagram account. She took us behind the scenes. So let's take a look at what it looks like inside the bubble. Here's Chelsea Carey.
Hi everyone, I'm Chelsea Carey from Team Tracy Fleury, and my teammates and I are here in the Calgary bubble. So we're going to give you guys a little bit of a look into that today. Here are some of the girls. We are currently waiting for COVID test number 3. So wish us luck. We're getting ready to head to practice, and here's the process. This little machine.
Normal temperature.
Tells you your temperature. Then you have to fill out a form, and it gives you a pass to get into the arena. And then before we leave, I have to scan out. So I scan my player pass there. It checks me out of the hotel. And then when we get to the arena, we scan back in, and then we repeat that every time we go back and forth. All right, we just finished practice, and normally we would have dressing rooms, but we're not allowed to because of COVID. So this is the green area where the athletes get ready. We're gonna head back to the hotel, we scan back in and back out. Good practice, ladies. So practice number 2 is done and we are back at the hotel. We're not allowed to gather with our teammates until the COVID test results from today come back. And even then we have to wear masks and distance, but at least we can be in the same room. So we're all in our own rooms, just relaxing a little bit. I'm gonna jump on Zoom really quick here with my trainer and get a little bit of a workout / cool down in. We have to get a little bit creative because we don't have a lot of equipment that we can access due to COVID. So he's got something cooked up for me that'll be mostly body weight and just trying to keep the blood moving. And then I'll check back in with you guys in a bit.
Wow, Chelsea!
I mean, welcome to the show, Chelsea. Everything's normal here, right? Everything looks like a normal Scotties. Yeah, right. I mean, you're there. You didn't think you were going to be there, and now you're walking through all of that. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's been definitely bizarre, but I'm happy to be here and we're excited to get going. I think once the games start, it sort of starts to feel normal. It's all the lead up stuff and it took a bit of getting used to with the scanning in and out, and we do temperature checks a couple times a day and all this kind of stuff. But once the games start, it sort of just feels like curling, I think, I hope. So we'll find out.
Well, Chelsea, that was very good taking over the CBC Olympic account. You did a great job.
Colleen,
You're a national reporter.
Chelsea, Colleen was worried about her job when we watched it in the show rehearsal.
I think that's all good, but it was
Elbowed me out of the way. Chelsea, tell me what it's like to be back. I mean, when you weren't in the field, I was like, how is one of the best skips in Canada right now sitting on the sideline? So when the shuffle happened, the musical chairs, and you don't have a chair, it didn't make sense. What was it like for you when you got the call?
Yeah, it was a surprise. Obviously, I'd sort of made my peace with not being in the 4-person curling at least, and so then I got the call originally when they weren't sure if Trace was going to be able to go into the bubble or not, and would I join them either way? And obviously, we all hoped that she would be able to go in and that they wouldn't need me to play. But I mean, any chance you get to play in a Scotties, it's a great opportunity. So I'm excited to get going, and I'm glad that I was available to help them out. They're a great group of girls. I've known them all for a very long time and played against them a lot. So we'll see what we can do together.
They didn't call me. I'm so disappointed. Anyhow.
Chelsea, I don't have to tell you about team chemistry, and I also don't have to tell you that your 2 Scotties wins came in the first year of a new team, third time a charm. I don't know, but tell me what these couple of practices have been like with team chemistry.
Yeah, it's been pretty easy. They're generally pretty easy to get along with. We did a lot of Zoom calls leading up and discussions about, what people like to hear, how we communicate, what kind of terms do we use for draw weight, for those kinds of things. So we came in as prepared as we could without being able to practice together, I think. And so far it's been pretty easy, but the games will bring it out. We'll run into situations in games, I'm sure, where after the game we go, when you said this, or when I said that, or is that what you want to hear, or whatever, which, you run into that 2-3 years in with a team. So I'm not sure how much of a challenge it'll be, but it certainly, we're aware that, it could be, and we're prepared to have those conversations. And we've done, I think, as good a job as we could having them in advance so that we feel like we're all in a pretty good place about those kinds of things.
Yeah, you really had to hurry hard the prep, when you're thrown in at the last minute. So you have tonight off.
We do.
And then tomorrow 2 games. Lori Eddy, Nunavut, she's an upset queen sometimes. And then right in it with Manitoba?
Yeah, Manitoba second, yeah.
It's like that. Bam.
Yeah, right in there.
Tell me how the ice was last night. What's the intel?
It's pretty green, but that's normal. It has lots of curl. I think it's going to be really good. It feels really good underfoot. It's the rocks are sharp, and so it's a bit slow and very swingy, but I don't think it'll take very long for that to go away. I think the surface is beautiful, and so I think it'll be great. Great days as we go. I know when we've had events here before at this same arena, it's always been really good, so I'm not worried about it.
Tell me about how joyful it was to be back out there. I mean, we the fans, the reporters. I say I'm a fan. I'm supposed to be objective here.
Okay.
We've missed it so much, and I've had so many conversations with you guys about how much you've missed it and how much perspective you've had in the waiting. So to be back out there under the bright lights, how beautiful was that moment for you?
Yeah, it's really cool. I do think that there's some trepidation, I think, from most people. I know for myself, just because you don't know what to expect. Normally you're so far into the season that you're like, yeah, my out turn's really good, my in turn's maybe a little soft, but I got this figured out. I know that my draw weight's awesome, and you just don't know those things for sure. But it feels good to be back, and I think that there's a level of excitement. I know I can't speak for anybody else, but I know for myself personally, just because of the break, it sometimes gets to the point of kind of burnout and things, and so it's easy to maybe not appreciate it. We all say we do, and we do, but I think maybe there's a bit of a different appreciation this year, just because it was taken away from us for so long, and a lot of us haven't played a game in a year since last year's Scotties.
Yeah,
so
you don't know what you get till it's gone, eh?
Yeah.
So tell me about this whole no page playoff system, top 3. It puts the pressure on even in this preliminary round, and of course the championship pool too. What do you think?
I actually like it. I think that it rewards first place in the round robin, which I always thought should be the case. But I get Paige from a TV standpoint and from a fan standpoint, so I'm not sure it'll stay. But we do the trials that way. So obviously there's some background with Curling Canada thinking that it's a legitimate way to decide your rep. I think that the bye to the final is a good reward for the first place in the round robin, but it also can be a disadvantage because you're playing one less game.
Yeah.
So it could go either way. I don't mind it though. And I think this year, obviously, it was the only way for it to make any sense. And then I wouldn't be surprised if you saw them go back to page next year if the field goes back down to 16 teams. It just became a time issue, I think, as much as anything.
Are you going to give us predictions?
No, this is the worst year to try to give predictions. Well, and I can't not say my own team, so then that doesn't work very well. But I honestly think it's going to be very interesting because there's just been so little preparation for most teams compared to what they normally would do. So I think it's the most wide open Scotties I've ever seen, partially because the field is really good, and partially because everyone's coming in on this kind of level playing field where people like a Jennifer Jones or like myself with my old teams would have played 10, 12 events by now. We were just the kind of teams that played a ton, where, you've got other teams that are coming in, it's their 3rd or 4th event of the season. So that is an advantage in the sense that you've played more and you're more grouped and whatever. And now no one really has that advantage. So I think experience might factor in. But I also think that some of the teams, I think the problem with experience is because it's such a different Scotties that it could actually work against you. Yeah. And some of the younger teams where this is their first Scotties, they don't know what else it would be. They don't know what it's normally. So that's an advantage as well.
Yeah, the youngins don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
And no fans will help the young ones because they don't
100%.
You know what it's like when you miss a shot and the crowd goes, ooh, and you're like, oh, open.
But Colleen, you never missed a shot.
Never. Not an intern, but those interns, as Chelsea just described.
I think you won every one of your Scotties on an outturn. I actually think you did.
Not true. 1982 intern hit. But speaking of those top 3, the way the playoff system is, we did used to do that at the Scotties. And one year we finished in the 84 Scotties. Our team finished first. Connie Lalaberty was number 2, so she played the semifinal game. And I'll never forget sitting and watching that game, and she didn't miss a shot. And then I was scared to death the next day, thinking she got all that practice.
Yeah, my dad will tell you that exact story about Russ Howard in 1992. They left. They went to watch the semifinal and they left because neither team was missing a shot.
Right.
Kevin Martin and Russ Howard, and they're like, we don't want to watch this. We don't want to see the team that we're about to play make everything.
Right.
I didn't watch the semifinal at the Olympic trials when we lost the final to Rachel. I didn't want to see who
was
playing well and what was going on. I didn't watch it.
Well, I didn't know enough to know that then because I was young and stupid and naive. So I sat and said, Connie's on fire. She's an ice queen. She doesn't And then she went out and didn't miss against us, and I lost.
We gotta keep moving. We gotta let
Chelsea, you did a wonderful job on that Instagram. What was the workout from the
Colleen, we gotta get moving. Okay. We're gonna keep Chelsea. It looks like it's gonna be dramatic. We love the drama. Thank you. We'll catch up with you later in the week. Good luck. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Her Instagram, that was awesome.
It was great. Okay, we got to keep going here because we're getting close to game time. Listen, you and I have talked about the fact that this is about the fans. This is about the curling community. One of the things you and I really talked about when we were discussing how we want the show to look is to include the fans. And so every night, the fans are going to come in the house with us. And I think we have a couple of fans from New Brunswick ready to join us on the show. Lindsay and Abby in New Brunswick. How are you guys? Where are you? What's happening? I love the sweaters.
Did you knit them?
Yes, we did.
Oh, send me the pattern. Oh, good girl.
You're knitting right now.
I'm a
We made
knitter.
up patterns last year to go to the Briar. So we made up the patterns. There was no pattern. We just knit it.
You make up the patterns. You two are talented. You know, when Devin and I got our new jackets I don't know if you can see, it looks like knitted, and it was in plastic, and I'm there, oh, it's a knitted jersey. And then I realized, no, it just looks like knit, but.
Okay, hold on. You guys got a great story because you were tweeting at us earlier today, Lindsay and Abby. You did one hell of a road trip.
We sure did.
When was it? Last year. Tell us about the road trip. Tell us how you fell in love with curling and why you love this crazy game.
Ooh. Well,
You go.
I'll go first. I grew up watching curling. My dad is a huge fan. My uncle and cousins up in Yellowknife, where I'm originally from, and so I played juniors, and so I've been probably in love with curling for at least 20 years.
Nice.
And now, here in New Brunswick, and I met Abby, another avid curling fan and curler, and yeah, we had this scheme for our birthday presents to ourselves / each other last year to road trip to Kingston from St. Stephen, New Brunswick.
Nice.
Unbelievable. How long is that?
Oh,
It's about a 12-hour drive. We're right on the border with Cowles, Maine. So we drive through Maine. It cuts off a few hours because we don't have to go up through Quebec. But it's still quite a hefty drive.
yeah, it is. You know what I love? Devin, you've got to go to St. Stephen, New Brunswick. I biked there. It's, of course, the home of Ganong chocolates. And you just go in and you eat a lot of chocolates. It's really, and it smells so good. Oldest chocolate factory in Canada, I think.
It is.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Listen,
Building that does.
you guys have any predictions for the Scotties? Who are you watching? I know probably who you're cheering for, but any predictions? And yeah, of course, absolutely. And do you have any questions, of course, for the queen of curling, Colleen Jones?
Stump me.
Oh,
Well, I will go ahead with my prediction.
Yeah.
As you guys were talking about, I think the East Coast teams have a distinct advantage in the fact that most of them have been able to play and practice together more than the Western teams, and also they haven't been playing shuffle of player. So as the Western teams and the teams that kind of play on the Grand Slam circuit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that the Eastern teams are going to surprise you, and I've got PEI. I've got Team Burt right through the final.
Yeah, Suzanne Burke came so close one year, a few Scotties ago, and she's a former junior champ. She is so strong. So I would agree with you and Marie Christensen from Nova Scotia is on that team. Shout out to Nova Scotia. But I wouldn't underestimate Jill Brothers. She's playing phenomenally well. She's another former Canadian junior champ. And of course, Andrea Crawford declined to go. She's just such a tough competitor. Melissa Adams is another former Canadian junior champ. So but I think between Burt and Nova Scotia, could be. Anyway, so nice of you guys to be.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show, you two. And honestly, I know you're great curling fans. We're always connecting over Twitter. So it's really nice to see you guys. Buckle up, get ready you're ready to go.
Shout out to my curling club here in St. Stephen.
Absolutely.
We weren't curling this year. We couldn't curl because of COVID at the St. Stephen Curling Club. So I was actually curling at the Heather Curling Club in St. Andrews, where we had 18 World Championships a few years ago. National, sorry. I got the pin. So shout out to my curling club.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Get out to those local curling rinks. We need it more than ever. You guys
enjoy. This is your curling rink right here for now. St. Andrews, New Brunswick. I honeymooned there. I love St. Andrews.
Cheers. 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 Cheers.
Cheers.
Take care. It's so great. You know, we've been missing it. We've been missing going to the curling club and talking about curling. We're getting close to a half hour away. We got to keep the show going because we're trying to cover this thing as journalists. Hopefully we would be on the media bench. How much fun did we have in 2019? One of the things I'm going to be missing this year is the media game. You've curled on Scotties ice all the time. We've been doing this media game and getting on the ice. In 2019, it was you, me, and I think we have a picture here, Ted Wyman, and there it is, Greg Strong of the Canadian Press. Colleen, what happened in that game? What went wrong?
Let's say we won it. Why don't we just say we won it? We lost it. We're playing against Daniel Inglis, who's the fifth for Rachel Homan, and
we were really bad. We were really bad that morning.
We were bad. We didn't have no coffee. Yeah,
it was a problem. But joining us on the show, back in the house, the band is back together. Here he is in the plaid, in the championship plaid. Greg, Greg, how are you? It is so good to see you.
Great to be on with you guys. Congratulations on the show. This is fantastic. I too am missing the live curling experience, so I got the curling colors on tonight.
Love it.
Got the coffee mug here.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I even got the scarf here. I got props, the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna pretend like we're freezing on a meteor riser.
You know what? Whenever I knew you were going to be at an event, I knew I had to step up my fashion game because Greg Strong would come strutting in with the scarf or the look, and I'm like, okay, game on. Well,
the reality, it gets cold on that media bench too. So the scarves, it's not just the fashion statement from these two guys.
Oh, no.
You need it.
It's always fashion over function.
But let's get into our rock talk here.
Rock talk.
Okay.
A little rock talk. Okay, so if we were to sit down at a media bench before a Scotties, what would we be talking about? And I think out of the gate, we would say, who's going to win this thing?
Right.
And really, normally there's 4 or 5 teams that have that distinct advantage. You're like, we've got our favorites here. This time around, 18 teams. I have no idea. It's a giant question mark. What do you guys think?
I agree. I mean, you just heard Chelsea. I mean, flip a coin, right? And I think one of the things, real quickly, sorry, Cole, I cut you off, but one of the things I'm going to watch these opening games, right? I mean, I think we're going to learn a lot in a hurry, and the margin of error, you guys know it, is always so slimmer than ever this year, and yet the stakes have never been higher because only 3 teams, a really good curling team, maybe even 2, isn't even going to get to the playoffs this year.
Well, and the other reality is, like, let's take a look at Rachel Homan's team that changed significantly since last year. You know, Joanne Courtney to lead and bringing in Sarah Wilkes. They haven't played a game together in a competitive way because the spiel they were in was canceled in the 5th inning. We don't know if Rachel Homan's team, we can assume they're going to be strong. But that little thing called chemistry that happens under pressure, we knew how it used to work. I wonder, what do you think, Greg?
I really like, a team like Suzanne Burt that has a little bit of, get the provincials in. They come in with a little bit of momentum. As you say, some of these other teams are totally cold, maybe a little bit of experience earlier in the fall, playing some spiels. But for the most part, I mean, it's a giant crapshoot, and you've got 18 teams, and there's so many good teams like Zacharias. You've got Peterson in this year. There could be some teams that we're not expecting could really make a run. So it's really hard to predict.
I want to talk real quickly about, we've been talking, I know you've been watching the show, Greg, about Curling Canada pulling this off, and we've been hearing reports about what's taking place early in the bubble. There are a lot of people who have been asking us, and I know you've been seeing it too, why are we even doing this? I mean, you see all of these countries around the world not even holding national championships. Curling Canada has told us that it's important to get these teams qualified. You don't even have a women's worlds on the schedule right now. What do you make about the fact that we're doing this in a pandemic and we don't even know if there's going to be a rep going to a worlds at this point?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there to unpack for sure. I think it's great to have curling in the spotlight right now. Same with basketball, Major League Baseball, all these sports coming back. I think it's good for the greater good. That's my personal opinion. Not everyone agrees with it, but I think it's good to have curling now back in the spotlight. There's also other things. There's, you've got rights holders who you want to try and get that curling content on for. There's sponsors who you want to try and keep happy. There's the curlers who are jonesing to participate. So you've got a lot of things, to consider here. And you've also had a few bubbles before this one. So we had the NHL one last year in Toronto and Edmonton, and you had the World Juniors over the holiday season, Hockey Canada down in Edmonton. And so those two bubbles, there's been some communication with Curling Canada about best practices, about how best to proceed. And the federation here, the Curling Federation, Curling Canada, I think they're ready, and I think they're keen to get going, and they're feeling confident.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong bubble plan they've got. Is there such a thing as a strong bubble plan?
There is now.
That's what they've got going on. But good of all of us to be in this bubble together, but it's hard covering it this way, is it not?
Yeah. What do you make of that, Greg? I mean, covering it with, the post-game scrums, the whole thing, seeing the games play out.
Yeah, that's the big thing. And of course, everyone's gotten in our business used to covering things on Zoom or watching games on TV. It's just the reality of sports media right now. I was a little disappointed that the media was not allowed in the arena. It depends on who's hosting it, whether or not it's something that's feasible. Curling Canada said it wasn't for having media in-house. With hockey, with other sports, they did allow, Dev, I think you were in the hockey bubble last summer. I was down there for a few games. They managed to get reporters in the seats that obviously weren't being occupied in a spectator-free arena. However, we've got, we'll do the best we can. And so we'll have a few curlers available after games to chat with the media. But where we'll miss something is, you know what it's like in the arena. Not everything on TV. There's all sorts of things going on and you don't see it when you're not there. You can watch the game that's on television, but you're not getting the full picture. There's obviously 4 sheets. So, and curling is an amazing sport in that you get all kinds of great access. Normally after a game, you can talk to whoever you want. You've got the 5 players, you've got the coach, you've got,
family.
And you can just get great stories. And we're missing that this time around.
Yeah.
But hey, we've got that curling show and we've you.
And we've got you.
Wow, great to be here. I love it.
Yeah, so good. So good.
That's great.
We got to get moving on here. We're 20 minutes away.
Yeah, we're
going to be hunkering in. The tweets are going to be flying. You're going to be covering it throughout. Greg, where can we follow you? You're going to be covering it throughout. I think yourself and the great curling reporter in Calgary, Donna Spencer, for the Canadian Press.
Yeah. Well, I'll put all my story links on my Twitter, Gregory Strong CP. And Don and I are kind of tag teaming it over the course of the next few weeks. So looking forward to it. Day 1, here we go.
Yeah. Sure.
Buckle up.
Cheers. Look good, curl good. So good to see you, Greg.
Yeah, nice seeing you.
Thank you. Time flies when you're having fun, Colleen.
Oh, we already went long on our first show.
No, I know we are going long, and hopefully everybody's still with us out there, and hopefully everybody's having a lot of fun. Let's look at the pools really quickly, and then we've got to get to my plants. Take a look at the pools. What do you like? What are you looking at here, Colleen? We've been talking about the fact that there are 5 Manitoba teams. Manitoba is getting their provincials after all, and it's playing out at the Scotties. But there are the pools, 18 teams, unprecedented. What are you looking for?
Well, you know what? I've made up my own playoff pool. And my playoff pool right now. Did you just choke?
Oh, my God.
I know.
Class is in.
The thing that right off the bat you notice is that between Team Canada, Henderson, Rachel Holman, Chelsea Carey, Jennifer Jones, in this new playoff system, one of those top ones doesn't get in. So, and usually you'll look at the first part of the round robin and go, here, isn't that good penmanship? You'll look at the round robin and you'll go, you know what? You can lose a few games, but really you can't right now lose.
No, you can't.
If you carry it over the championship.
This is curling survivor. And you don't want to get voted out of the bubble.
You don't. You don't want to. No, you want to stay in that bubble right to the bitter end and get to the championship game.
Okay, listen.
The best news, breaking news.
Hold on, we got to get to the plants because you can see right there. I got the new plant yesterday. We put it to a vote because everybody loves my plants. They're thriving, by the way. They're loving me being home. But listen to this. After 451 votes, if you can believe it, we've got a tie, and you know how I feel about tiebreakers. I can't believe it. Button and Bubbles tied at 28%. And so, Colleen,
It's Button.
You have to name it.
Button, definitely. I mean, yes, it looked like a bubble, your little orange on it, but this is a curling.
Button.
It's Button.
The Scotties skipper.
Oh, playing in a bubble. Oh, no, it's a bubble.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. This is too much drama.
Okay, and a special admirer sent another plant for you, so we have another plant to name. Oh,
I did.
yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, that's so good.
So,
Okay,
this showed up today.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to name another plant tomorrow. This is going to turn into the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Here
Before we go, I've got another prop. So these are the games tonight. Northern Ontario plays Volusia, Yukon against wildcard number 3, Alberta and Nova Scotia. That's a big game. And Canada and wildcard 2, Zacharias, the youngin, against the champion. Both
big night. Big night. 40th anniversary of the Scotties. Colleen, did you really think we would let you go without me surprising you on the first show?
Yeah, I wouldn't think you could. You have no surprises. You can't.
Yeah, I do have a surprise.
What is it?
I do. Because you won the first Scotties in 1982. Yeah. You're a champion. You're a great friend of mine. You're a hero to so many people across this country. And so right now, we are going to take a look at all 6 of your Scotties wins. Watch.
Oh, my gosh. Not even
Big shot here. Comes out. There it goes.
The Canadian Championship on the line here. Will she hit and stay?
They jumped on it right away. She's very close. There's no indication. She's got him. Not a question about it. Right on the nose. It never wavered.
A trip to the World Championship. Colleen Jones. Out of her hand, Delahunt. Way trying to hold it for her. Kim Kelly urging them on. They can't afford to roll. Gotta sit right there. Don't roll.
Nova Scotia wants to see
I think Nova Scotia's got it. They have. Nova Scotia wins it. A measurement on the next grand to determine the championship. Colleen Jones has won her 3rd national title. And Colleen Jones has become the most successful skip of all time in Canadian women's curling. For the 2nd consecutive year, the Canadian standard bearers at the Worlds. She can afford to lose her shooter. And the smile tells the story. Colleen Jones has done it again. With this stone, let history record a milestone in women's curling. Colleen Jones and Team Canada with an unprecedented 4th consecutive Scott title.
Okay, that was pretty special.
You are such a champion.
Oh, you're so nice. I am tearing up, so that's that. Because I put mascara on just for our special show, and I never wear that. You never get to watch that stuff, right? You never see it, and to relive that right now, and you know how bad I want it to be curling at this Scotties. Too.
I know that. I know you.
And a lot of people say, "Why would you want to?" And the reason is, it's just in my soul, and I love it, and I can't. It's hard.
But Colleen, I thought I was supposed to be the dramatic one.
That was dramatic, man. Could I scream? Okay, woo!
If that doesn't get you ready for this year's Scotties, I don't know what does. It has been such a fun opener. A lot more to come. We're here with you every single night leading into the final game. We've got you covered with the Queen of Curling. Stay tuned. Good night, good luck, and good curling.
Thank you to producer Sophie.
Thank you to Sophie, the producer. Thank you to the fans. Enjoy the curling, everyone. See you.
See you tomorrow.